So we've all seen the latest Battlefield teaser trailer, we've had the time to digest, some of you have been stuck in queues for literally hours on end in some situations trying to sign up for the Battlefield Labs playtesting, so what better time to take the community's pulse? I've got a number of important topics I want to touch on today. Firstly, how you can get around some of those queue times. Secondly, some post-trailer thoughts now that the water has settled, and why we really need to keep ourselves in check this time around and not get too excited. And then we've got some new information about a Portal 2.0 coming from Flakfire, and then there's also the investors call to go over as well. So a bunch of stuff to go over. So if you aren't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. There'll be plenty more coverage to come on every bit of news surrounding the new Battlefield game here, just like I did with 2042, so if that's something that interests you, make sure you sub so you don't miss any future videos. So we've seen people reporting insanely long queue times for the Battlefield Labs playtest sign-up page. I've seen screenshots showing over 250,000 people in line, which is a crazy amount of interest, and let me know how long you waited if you had to wait at all. And to make matters worse, the estimated wait time only goes up to a maximum of an hour. If the wait time is longer, then it simply reads as more than an hour, which in reality can end up being up to 15 hours, as we've heard from some individuals. So the system is sort of stringing you along and giving you incremental injections of hope, kind of like DICE did with us on Battlefield 2042. But there is some good news, guys. While spots for playtesting are limited, the order in which you sign up has absolutely no effect in how likely you are to be chosen to playtest. And community manager Kevin Johnson confirmed this, saying, quote, "Do want to reiterate, if you sign up now or sign up in 3 days or whatever time, you still have every much a chance as everyone else, as this is not first come first served. We'll relay when invites do start to take place," end quote. And similarly, the Battlefield comms account also posted saying, quote, "Our first external NDA test sessions will begin in the coming weeks, so please fill out the information if you're interested. Rest assured, the sign-up order does not affect access to Battlefield Labs." So in the coming weeks would suggest that you have at least a week to get your sign up in before they draw names from the big hat. So therefore my advice would be to stop wasting your time in queues and just give it a few days to calm down. Now, it turns out that certain content creators were actually briefed on the information we received yesterday beforehand, and even had some sort of a Q&A with the developers. In Flakfire's latest video, which I will link below, there he states that when asked, the devs actually confirmed that Portal will be part of the new Battlefield game, which definitely came as a surprise to me. So Ripple Effect were the team behind Portal 1.0, let's call it, in Battlefield 2042, and up until now, we've mostly been assuming that the standalone Battlefield experience that they're working on is a battle royale, as per reports from Tom Henderson and Insider Gaming. But who knows, maybe what they're actually working on is Portal 2.0. Overall, I think Portal was a great addition to Battlefield 2042, but poorly executed and essentially left to deteriorate in the corner with little support and none of its issues being fixed, especially when it came to the server browser. You guys know it was absolutely infested with these 10,000% extra damage hardcore servers and whatnot, XP farms and God knows what else. So who knows, maybe this time around they can take that initial idea and make a version that'll fly. He also mentioned that the playtesting will revolve around specific areas of the game, like maps, modes, vehicles, and etc., and that not all of these would make it into the full game, but were rather experiments for DICE to gather feedback. Now, the first test will revolve apparently around combat and destruction, which based on the new footage is clearly a core focus for them this time around. This testing will also continue past launch, so just like with the CTE program, it's going to be used to further develop the game well into the future, which is honestly awesome to hear. I think that's exactly what Battlefield needs. And then lastly, he said that the various tests run will include all the Battlefield studios, so it may not just be multiplayer tests for the core game modes, but it could also be campaign, Portal, or whatever else Ripple Effect and the other teams have cooking, like that supposed Battle Royale. So definitely exciting times ahead for us as a community. But talking of excitement, let's not get too excited just yet. I don't want to bring anybody's buzz down, but after all, words are cheap, and that is mostly what we saw out of DICE's video yesterday. The bigwigs at the company all had a lot of encouraging things to say. They almost sounded somewhat apologetic, but there's a big difference between them saying they're going to playtest the game with us and them actually doing that, listening to us, iterating on that feedback, and when it comes down to it, making an authentic, grounded Battlefield game. The trailer we saw, if you can even call it that, was around 5 seconds long and heavily edited, which certainly didn't convince me of anything, really. But that hasn't stopped some content creators, and I won't name names, putting titles on their videos like, DICE has won back the community. We're back, baby. Like, I get it. I make videos too, and trying to upload your own personal take on a piece of content when there are hundreds of other creators making their own video on exactly the same piece of content at the same time, it is a big challenge to get people to click on your video and invest their time in your video instead of, or as well as, somebody else's. But in my opinion, this kind of blind devotion to DICE and EA is exactly what got us the shit show that was Battlefield 2042's release. And I mean, like, do we really want another repeat performance of that? Now, to be clear, what I saw in the trailer did excite me. It ticked a lot of boxes for me. The return to this war-torn Middle Eastern setting, the destruction. The map actually appears to be shipping with cover this time, which is nice. The specialists are gone, and we can already make out the faint outline of these iconic classes. But I also saw a lot of stuff that heavily reminded me of Battlefield 2042, and I don't think I was the only one. It's pretty obvious that the version of the Frostbite engine they're using here isn't really that different. I spotted several similarities between games. A lot of the soldier animations and just the way they move appear to be the same, and the size and proportions of the soldiers are very similar as well. The explosion shockwave that I believe was added into the engine with 2042 is also on display in this trailer, and the clip of this engineer at the end firing the RPG looks like it's pretty much directly ripped straight out of Portal. And the whole time I was watching this, I kept asking myself whether this could almost be a reskinned Battlefield 2042. Now, back in the day, DICE used to number the various iterations of the Frostbite engine, so we had Frostbite 1, 2, and 3, and if you saw a new engine upgrade with a new game that warranted one of these new numbered designations, you knew that it was practically an entirely new engine. These days though, they just call it Frostbite, and you never really know how much evolution there is between titles. It's almost entirely possible that a lot of what we're seeing here is ripped straight from 2042 because it's placeholder. And after all, this is pre-alpha footage. They're giving us the benefit of the doubt on this one, and they are showing us some very early, unfinished gameplay, so I'm not going to judge them too harshly for it. I'm excited by what I've seen, and I'm going to choose to believe that this is not what the finished product is going to look like, and that it is an actual pre-alpha build. All I'm saying is, though, let's not get too excited and keep our feet firmly planted on the ground. So to end on here, the EA investors call is taking place this evening, and I can only assume there'll be another bout of CEO-fueled, grandiose, hype-inducing words spewing forth from Andrew Wilson's mouth to make his shareholders happy. But the shareholders will have seen yesterday's video, and they will doubtlessly have some interesting questions to ask. So I'll do another video on that tomorrow if there's anything worth mentioning there. Otherwise, leave me your thoughts below, guys, subscribe for more Battlefield videos, and I will see you all in the next one.